Today we have tap water, filters, and bottled water delivered to our door. But 100,000 years ago, your ancestors faced an invisible killer, contaminated water that could wipe out an entire tribe in days. So how did they not just survive, but thrive? The answer might surprise you, because the answer isn't what you think. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was a system. A system so effective that it kept the human species alive for hundreds of thousands of years, long before anyone understood what a microbe even was. No tap, no filters, no laboratory tests. Yet your ancestors didn't just find water, they found clean water without dying from cholera or dysentery. How? The answer lies in three things: location, knowledge, and adaptation. First, location matters more than you think. Ancient humans didn't drink from stagnant pools. They followed animals. Hunter-gatherers tracked herds across landscapes, not just for food, but because animals led them to water sources. And they made a critical observation: still water kills. Moving water is safer. Flowing rivers over swamps, mountain springs over valley pools, water that moved, aerated, and refreshed itself over water that sat and stagnated. Not because they understood bacteria, they didn't, but because they observed patterns over thousands of years. Still water meant sickness. Moving water meant survival. And this wasn't just intuition. Archaeological evidence shows that prehistoric camps were consistently built near fast-moving streams and springs, not near lakes or marshes. That pattern repeats across every continent, every culture, every climate. The same conclusion, reached independently, over and over again. Don't drink the still water. And the camps they built, almost always near running water. Second, they developed a system of knowledge passed from generation to generation. And we have archaeological evidence for this. Ancient and traditional cultures around the world independently discovered that charcoal from burnt wood could clarify and improve water. They used layers of sand, gravel, and fibrous moss inside bark to filter out particles and sediment on the move. Certain tree barks, like African mahogany, were steeped in water for their antibacterial properties. And they boiled water, not because they understood germ theory, but because they noticed that water heated by fire, then cooled, made people less sick. In regions without ceramic pots, they dropped fire-heated stones directly into containers of animal hide or wood to bring water to a boil. Some cultures used honey, which has genuine antibacterial properties, to preserve water and slow the growth of harmful microbes. And honey isn't just sweet. Hydrogen peroxide, low pH. A culture using honey and water wasn't being primitive. They had stumbled onto something that microbiologists would confirm thousands of years later. This knowledge wasn't written down. It was spoken, remembered, passed from parent to child, healer to healer for hundreds of generations. Think about what that means. Every piece of knowledge about water, every safe source, every purification method was carried inside human memory. Not books, not maps, just people. Third, their bodies adapted. Humans who lived near specific water sources for many generations developed gut microbiomes, the community of bacteria living in the digestive system that were adapted to local waterborne bacteria. A visitor from a different region drinking the same water might get sick. A local might not. This is why early human groups who crossed into new territories often struggled with local water sources, not because the water was poisonous, but because their bodies simply hadn't adapted yet. It took generations. And the groups that survived long enough to adapt were the ones who passed that knowledge forward. This wasn't magic. It was biology. We see this today. Travelers often get sick from water that local populations drink without issue. And traditional cultures understood rehydration long before modern medicine named it. Across Africa and Asia, specific mixtures of water, salt, and grains were used to help people recover from severe dehydration and diarrhea. The principle behind these mixtures is almost identical to what the WHO uses in oral rehydration therapy today, not invented in a laboratory, discovered through observation over centuries of trial and error. So the next time you turn on a tap, remember, your ancestors solved one of survival's hardest problems, finding clean water. Without a single laboratory test, they used observation, knowledge, biology. That's not just survival, that's genius.